Welcome to another tutorial on how to manage your school's website. My name is Chris Maurer and I will be taking you through the events calendar today. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to be using the Inspired template. You can go ahead and follow along on your own website if you choose to. The events calendar is fairly straightforward. I will take you through some of the different setups and basically how to add events to it and whatnot. Usually one of the first things I like to do is up here into the network bar, I like to right click my school name and open link in new tab. That way I have the back end here, the administrative area, and the front end of the website open at the same time, and I can just bounce back and forth to whichever one I need to look at. I'm going to click on the calendar menu item. Now that the page is loaded, let's go ahead and take you through the different elements. So right up here we have this gray bar. This first option lets you choose the different view of the calendar. I can click to month view and see the more typical calendar that we're used to. I can click to week view and you can see the events per week. You also have the day and agenda views. By default I have most websites set to Posterboard just because it's fun. I will show you how to change the default in just a little bit. You also have categories. Again, categories. They're very similar to the categories in posts and news in that they're a high-level organization, more of the general organization of the content of your calendar. We also have tags, which are for the more specific keywords of each event. If I scroll all the way down to the bottom of that page, you'll also have these subscribe buttons. These allow people to subscribe via Outlook or iCal or Google Calendars or whatever other calendar application they are using to your entire calendar. But what's cool is that people can also filter your calendar. So let's say, for example, I'm up here at the top, I'm a parent, I'm coming along, and I decide I just want to see when the no school dates are. Great, so I choose the no school category. Notice now that the only thing that shows up are the no school events. If I go back up to the top, and sorry for the quick scrolling there, I hope you don't puke all over your screen, you also have conferences. Okay, so I'm interested in no school and conferences. Now at the bottom of the page, I can subscribe to a filtered calendar. So only the conferences and the no school events will show up in my feed. And you can do this per category or two categories or mix and match categories, etc. It's really up to them how they want to subscribe. The point is though is to have the categories broken down so that they can subscribe to the different parts of your calendar in a logical and orderly fashion. So let's go ahead and click into an event. Super Summer Break. Notice that once the event loads, you have the event details here, and they can go back to the calendar or they can choose to add just a singular event to their own calendar. And I have an image and some explanatory text down below there. So I'm going to go back to the calendar. Also, if I have just one category selected or multiple categories, it doesn't really matter. If there's a filter in place, is what I'm trying to say, that this black X shows up next to the categories title, I can click that X and it will clear out the filtering mechanism and leave me with all the events on the calendar. While we're here, let's go ahead and just talk about how to read the Posterboard view. Now, typically when you're reading a calendar, you're used to seeing it in the month view, right? The Posterboard view, I guess you could say, it was made famous by sites like Pinterest. The way it works is not via text. We are used to reading things from left to right, top to bottom, and we naturally look for text. So we start reading the X-ray experiments, then build an innator, open mic night, then pencil sharpening day, and then cheer drill extravaganza, peach eating contest. But a Posterboard view doesn't work like that. You actually do it visually. So the order of operations, or not exactly sure the word I'm looking for there, the order of importance is done by the visual block. So notice how the X-ray experiments has this block around it. It's the actual Posterboard itself, Same with build an inator and open mic night. Notice that build an inator ends lower down, or sorry, sooner than these other two. So basically, you have to look. You still read left to right, but just by shape instead of text. So X-ray first, build an inator second, open mic night third. Then afterwards you have cheer drill extravaganza. That comes fourth because it is higher up position-wise on the screen. Then after that we have peach eating contest and then pencil sharpening day. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The order that you would read the poster board view. Sometimes that can cause a little bit of confusion, but once you get used to it, you know exactly how to look for it and what's first and what's second. It doesn't take long to adjust. Okay, so let's go back into the back end of your website, the administrative area, and let's take a look at events. First off, I want to show you how to change the default view. If I hover over events and choose settings, this settings page loads. You'll notice here under viewing events that you have available views. These views right here that are enabled determine which views show up in this drop down right there. So let's say, for example, I remove the agenda. Personally, I don't even like the agenda, so let's get rid of it. Second, you also have this default radio button area. The default radio button determines which view is going to show to a visitor the first time they load their page. So, for example, let's say I want the month view by default because it's more traditional and people are used to it. But it's not as fun. I'm going to click Update Settings, and then I'll come back to the front end of the website and refresh the page. If you're on a PC, you can hit F5 and it will refresh the page for you. I'm on a Mac and I hit Command R to reload it. Great. So now, notice that the agenda view is gone out of this drop-down. And because I'm an individual user and I have it set to Posterboard to be my default, it's still going to show me Posterboard because it gets set in the cookies. Otherwise, if you were new to it, you would see the month view as being the default view for you. Okay. I'm going to change it back to the Posterboard and agenda just so we have it all in the demo site. And update those settings. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about categories. You'll notice once again that the categories have colors associated with them, and also on the Posterboard view at least, they're down here below and you can see them on each individual Posterboard entity. Categories are done by going to Events, Event Categories. Let's click into there. Now, I already have some categories created. That's okay. We'll create another one so you can see how it's done. Basically, if I want to add a new category, I come over here. Which category do I want to add? Let's do swimming. I'm going to choose a swimming category. And perhaps swimming might be better as a tag. I don't know. You can determine how you want to organize your website. I do have an athletics category, so who knows, swimming might be a better tag for that. Anyway, you can ignore the slug area, you can ignore the parent and the description. But down below here, notice that you also have category color and category image. How does that work? The category color lets me choose a color for, well, pretty self-explanatory really. You can assign a category color to any of these categories. If I come over here, let's see which colors I have used already. Purple, orange, light orange, green, blue, yellow, aqua. Well, swimming, I would choose an aqua, but it's already used. I don't want to go through the hassle of changing it. Let's just choose fuchsia. Why not? Now I can also add a category image. Notice down here it says assign an optional image to the category. Recommended size, square. Minimum 400 by 400 pixels. Now, do you have to have a square image? No, you don't. But it helps the layout of your calendar by having a square image. This is the one time that I would recommend pre-cropping a picture before you use it. Every other time on your website, you don't have to worry about cropping it. So I'm going to add an image, and let's select a file. So if I come over to my pictures file, go into my design, stock photography, I have, what do you know, a 400 by 400 picture of, you guessed it, a swimmer. And let's upload that. And then I'm going to click Use this image. And notice that it puts the category image right there. Now I will click Add New Category. And it will display it over here to the right, swimming. Now that the category has been created, let's create a new event. I'm going to come over here to Add New. Clicking on New, you have the same basic setup as a post or a news. Notice if I collapse this event details box, I do that by clicking this little arrow right there. It's the exact same layout. The only difference is that you do have this event details. So let's expand it. So let's go ahead and add an event. How about swimmers meet for pool time? Pretty exciting event, I have to say. So basically, let's see, is it an all-day event? Yes, no. By clicking that, notice that the time disappears over here. No end time, it means it just goes on forever, time-wise. So let's choose a date. You know what? I know that swimmers love to jump in the ice cold water, so let's choose January 16th of 2014. The meet will last between, let's see, 5 o'clock a.m. and 4 o'clock p.m. Sounds a little bit like getting the swimming merit badge at scout camp, except for we were in an ice cold lake. You can repeat it if you want, so if this is going to be a yearly thing, choose yearly. You can choose monthly, or you can choose weekly. Lots of different repeat options there. I am not going to repeat it as this is going to be a one-time event, so I'll hit the cancel, otherwise you would have hit the reply. You can exclude dates. For example, if you have a repeating date like every other day or something like that for 2 months, you can also do exclude date and exclude the weekends like Saturdays and Sundays. And you can also choose special exclude dates that don't quite match the pattern. So you also have event location details. The venue name will be Pixie's Pool House. First thing that came to my head, no judging. Have the address. Let's give it 2800 South State Street, Salt Lake City, Utah. Notice it tries its best to geolocate where you're at. You can do that. You can show Google Map if you want, or if you're getting really fancy schmancy, you can input some coordinates. But usually that's not required, and often that address isn't even required. The venue name, you might even put the cafeteria, or you might put the gymnasium, or you might put Mrs. Webster's 3rd grade classroom. I mean, the options are really endless there. You don't have to have an address associated with it. You also have event cost and tickets. Well, for every student who's going to compete in the meet for pool time, you have to have a cost. Don't put in the special characters like that. Go ahead and do 5. Buy ticket URL, well, there isn't one, so I'm going to leave that blank. Organizer contact info, contact name. Let's see. Contact name, Darren Deeds. The phone is 555-3323. That is, I did not type at all what I said. Email, great. ddeeds at blah blah blah.com. An external URL, no need for that. Okay, at this point we have the event details. Come over here to your event categories before we forget and go ahead and assign it a category. We choose swimming. Now at this point you can save a draft, you can preview it if you want, you can publish it, you can choose to schedule the event, meaning schedule the publishing of the event for a later time. Let's give it some event tags. Swimmer's ear, pool time, bring your own swimming shorts, and competition. Might as well have one serious one in there, right? And maybe it can help if I spelled it right. Competition. Maybe I did. Who knows? Okay. Now notice this set featured image here. If you want to override your category image, you can do set featured image, and for this particular event, the category image will be overridden. Down here, you have the event details. So if I want some sort of extra text in here, some explanatory paragraphical information, this is where I would type it, such as last year's winners were done by 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Can you beat them? Who will take home certificate granting the most pool time? There you go. So you can add extra stuff in there should you choose to. You can also add another image if you want, not required, but hey, why not sometimes? I would advise though that if you're going to add an image, don't put one in at the very beginning, just because this too goes to the mobile app, and if you type in an image at the very beginning, it's going to display the HTML for only part of the image in the mobile app application. So go ahead and put it after the first 150 characters or so. Alright, moving on. Let's go ahead and publish the event. We have everything we need, right? We have the title, we've entered in date and time, event location, cost, organizer contact, and some extra paragraphical information. We've assigned categories and tags. Perfect. Publish. Alright, we have the yellow notification bar saying our event has been published. Let's go check it out on the calendar. We did January 16th. So I'm going to refresh the calendar page, and there it is. Swimmers meet for pool time in that nice pink at Pixie's Pool House. There we go. There's the category image. If I click into there, we have the information for the event, the map, add to calendar, back to calendar, everything else. Excellent. So that's basically how you manage your calendar. Notice over here that once I have some events in there, I can go to all events, and all the events that I have added into my calendar will show up right here. Nice and handy way. Alright, well that's it for managing your events calendar. If you have any specific questions, go ahead and give me a call or send me an email. You can contact me by reaching the communications department. And that's that. Thanks for watching.